Peace, divine understanding, born of law. Listen, family, listen. I'm doing the knowledge to these flat world syndrome people. You know what I'm saying? But I really didn't mean it in the sense of the word. But I do want to say that it is a religion. It has a religious foundation, even if they argue in the law. Of the inner workings of those different organizations that bear witness to the world being flat. And then we just doing the knowledge, you know what I'm saying? So I'm with the family and the nation, and through listening and doing the knowledge to various builds. Very positive information. Well, one of the builds was on the fact that the entertainment world has been taken by storm by the flat world people. It was like ever since B.O.B. did it, like a lot of them started following suit, going with that. That manifestation with the dome and the whole 9 yards. As soon as you go into the dome part, then you have to see that it has to be through God. Only God could sustain a dome in space, unless it's not really space. I mean, it depends on where you want to go with it. But through all of that, it could be who is that mystery God. There is no mystery God. The Son of Man searched for 3 years of so-called mystery gods, and they didn't find the so-called mystery God. So they have agreed the only God is the Son of Man, so they search no longer for that which does not exist. So, my fact checkers and the quoters, they're going to be like, that wasn't quoted, right? I know. But I don't want to, throw our real shit out. So you know what I'm doing, right? All right. So now we just cleared that up. Because I know it's a knowledge. I'm not a cipher degree, you feel me? But anyway, who is that Mr. God? So that's what I'm applying based on 120 to the manifestation of that manifestation. But at the end of the day, it still becomes a religious ideology. It's still based on religion. Can't get past that. Is it not based on religion? Yes, it is. They all start off with, yes, they argue different sides of the same argument. And some of them seem like they're not trying to be religious. I think they want to be more scientific in their approach to this. They try to be scientific, but then when they got to give you proof of it being right and exact because of the mystiqueness of it, they have to move into it's God that did it. So, that kind of gets the heat off of them, because if it's God, I mean, it's hard to argue that point once they throw it on God from a Judeo-Christian manifestation. Pretty much it's a Judeo-Christian ideology on who and what is God. And then the rest, they add on to the cipher. So at the end of the day, it's still religion. It's almost similar to Darwin and evolutionary people. That's a religion to them too. It's their religion. They even say that it's not a religion. So part of their religious practice is to say that it's not a religion. But it's a religion. You feel me? Alright, so, but that was going into another manifestation that we was building on that too. So we might as well just keep it going, right? So, the God was saying that basically, once they get to a certain point in their ideology of flat world, you automatically go into the religion. If you look at the founders for these modern flat world people ideology, you'll see who they are. I can show them to you. You feel me? So if you do the knowledge, you'll say, at the end of the day, they can throw it back and do any ancient connection they want, right? Just like if I say to you, we got 120 from Allah, and Allah got 120 out of the temple. So, in that sense of the word, we got 120 from Allah. But the temple got 120 from kind of mixture between Elijah and WD. So, in that sense of the word, the Prince Hall people got their science from Prince Hall. And so on and so forth, depending on. The Orthodox Muslims would say they got their science from Muhammad. And the Christians would say they got theirs from Jesus. Right? Confucius, Buddha, Taoism, right? All of the different people who have knowledge of their existence, then somebody founded it for them. Even though they're going to say we're going to trace it back to the dawn of time. But at the end of the day, who's the founder of y'all getting together and tracing it back? That's what you want to look at. You want to look at the reality, not the metaphysics of what they're saying. You want to look at the reality of who's made it manifest. So you could really you will really be able to make an educated hypothesis of the analysis, what word, how would they say that? They would say they analyzed the data that was presented by that organization. And then from that, they came up with a conclusion on the thinking process of that particular organization, nation, or it could be individual, but a group of people thinking the same way, but they're individually thinking that way. Like people don't need to gather together and think that they all need water. They also all know they need water. In other words, like people don't need to gather together to know it's cold. They know it's cold. Everybody knows it's cold when it's cold. So certain things like that, everyone knows. But when you talk about, well, the world is flat, everybody doesn't see it that way. Or they can't see what you see in you saying what you're saying. And now when you go to show and prove it, that's when they're going to make an educated guess based on what you show them on what they already know, on whether they think you're right and exact or not. Whether you are or aren't is another level. But the point of whether they think that you're right and exact is where it comes in at. It's just that when you go to the end of a horizon, that's where you lose a lot of people, because they're saying if it's flat, you would just keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. But they got a telescope, just like they can look at a moon. They'd be able to see you. Even if you got so small that they couldn't see you, when they put a telescope there, you'd be there. But see, if we're in a desert like Yakima, that doesn't have a lot of sand, it's rocks, so things aren't moving. They staying pretty level. If you walk far enough, you're gonna hit the event horizon. You're gonna hit the horizon, and you're gonna go behind it. And now, no matter how much of a telescope I have, I'm still not gonna see you. All right, so that's easy to fix. So don't give me the hoo-ha-hee. It ends up becoming a religion because of the dome. And then it takes me personally into the Norse mythology, which they call Norse mythology. I don't call it that. I say the Norwegian, Northern European European, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, Northern European religion is what it really was. It was a religion. And they lost a lot of membership when the new and upstart god from Luamong came on the scene. Krishna. Anyway, however they would pronounce it, it ends up to being translated to nowadays as being Christ. That title was made manifest by Luamong. You say, who is Luamong? Well, I'm not going to get into who Luamong is because it's a principle more so that I want you to see, so you need to go look at the green. But the point I'm making is the connection between the founder and the ideology of that what is being made manifest with the people who are in that organization. So, if we go back and trace ourselves to our founders, then we see what they're talking about. Like when our father said to us, the original black man is God. Right. And then we come together at a parliament, and there's gods and earths at that parliament. Sometimes you see civilized people and you don't know they're just civilized people. You might think they're power rule or something of that manifestation. You won't know because that's what your eye sees. But that's the point I'm making is when they all come together in whatever organizations they are in, and whatever nations they are in, and whatever organizations they are in within nations. Like he says, a nation within a nation. So, when you go in it from that level, you would say, all right, because if I was in the NOI of yesteryear, prior to 1975, under Elijah Muhammad, if I was in that NOI, and if I was in this NOI, certain things, this NOI under Farrakhan and under Silas and under those other ministers, they're all going to have similar things that they all do that's the same because they bear witness to Elijah. I'm sure that the ministers themselves put their own personality in it, and so that's where the differences come in. But at the beginning of their foundation, it starts off with Elijah. So the point I'm making is at the beginning of the flat world religion, they have a founder. All right, these are their founders. And so these founders manifest that manifestation. So now you just got to say, just like I showed you the Baptist founder, the two founders of the Pentecostal movement, the founders of the Catholic. We didn't really look into the Eastern Orthodox because it doesn't really affect us at that level, us over here in the wilderness, North America. I'm looking at us. What's affecting us? I'm not saying things don't affect the 5%. Yes, the 5% nation is affected by certain things, but that's an internal nation business thing. And we dealing with that. We got people in position that's handling that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, we talking to our 85 brethren and our 5% brethren that haven't reached that level where they dealing with internal business. They're dealing with external. They're dealing with their internal business, their self. But they're not dealing with nation, but this is for self manifestation, right? So we're all out here trying to work on ourselves too. And in working on yourself, you start to see certain things that you need to manifest at a next level, or you need to stop doing altogether. Some things you need to fast from. It all depends on how you manifest and what you're manifesting, or things that you are conducting in your affairs, whether they're mental or physical. It's only going to be one of the two. Right? Some things you're going to manifest now as the born was made manifest mentally first and then in a physical sense. That's planning. Well, 120 does a lot of the planning for you, so you don't have to do a lot of the planning. Well, that's another lesson. We dealt with that, right? We almost everybody graduated out of that level, unless you're the new people and you're gonna go back. The advanced students are going to the advanced students. Don't get it wrong. Listen to me now. The advanced students in the understanding of 120. So, I mean, there's a lot of us that are advanced students, but we're still learning too. We're not above learning. And so, I know that, I mean, internally you'll see it and you'll hear it. And I tell y'all that you don't have 100% approval of social media in the nation. There's not a 100% approval, and that is an actual fact. And I would say most of the people who really, really, really know this don't approve of social media. And that's my word is bond. Like the people who I would look at and say, yeah, they know this. Whether I agree with them or they agree with me or not, I know these people know their lessons because I know who they are. I know them. Yeah, they know their lessons, G. They know theirs. They live in this. And so, in them living this, they see who the devil is, and they know that's the devil. And I don't disagree with it. It is the devil. It's damn for sure the devil. That word is born. It is. But in my sight and where I'm at, from where I'm seeing things and from what I'm doing is, I'm willing to risk going in there where the devil is at to help get y'all out. And they're staying there being the anchor, making sure that we can find a place to go back to. It would be horrible for me to be out here making moves and then I can't go home where it's just home. You feel me? That's what I'm talking about. So I don't have a problem with them not liking the social media. I think they're right by not liking it. It's horrible. I'm out here trying to tell my people what I gotta tell them, and so I do whatever I have to do from whatever means I have available to me. I make my moves that way. But it's not to keep y'all here. I want y'all to go over there. You feel me? So, anyway, I want to take you to the next thing we were building on at the show and food. Because it was a lot of builds going on. Sometimes I'm just doing the knowledge. Sometimes I'm building and adding on with the build. Sometimes I'm building and adding on, but only in my mind, and they're doing all the building. So you got to do the knowledge, right? So then we were talking about the actual summit, because it was more like this show and prove was more like a summit. That's what I gathered from it. A lot of the other show and proves were more entertainment, and I mean, it was what it was, and it is what it is. So it did what it did. I always go really to see the family that's coming from all over the planet, wherever they're coming from, all of them. I didn't see everybody that I wanted to see. I tried to. I did my best to make my rounds, but it is what it is. You get caught into ciphers and you start building and adding on to the cipher, and then time just shoots by, But that just show you how much fun I had. I was like, the family was there. It was much love. I I didn't see no, but I seen, Father Divine. I saw Father Divine a couple of times. We pressed hands and everybody's making moves. I saw Freedom was there. I'm just talking about everybody was there that was there, but I'm just talking about like major players that's like major hits. Like I saw Umala, we spoke a couple of times. He got on me about he heard me on the internet. See, I tell you, the old ciphers they don't feel this. I mean, I be taking a lot of chances coming out here because when I go home to see, the elder gods who taught me, they be saying they not happy with us being online. So it is what it is. I'm just keeping it real. They're not happy with it. Y'all are out here, but they might get a little more happy with it if y'all go to the school when y'all want to learn it. Like, you don't just stay trying to learn it online or that. That's what they probably upset about, which I understand that because I know you shouldn't stay here. This is like more like the lighthouse lighting up the barrier reef when you coming into land, and then you make moves from there. So you get to your, I always say get to your perspective enlighteners. Get to the perspective spots. If I find you and you talk to me and I don't remember you totally, it's not that I don't want to remember you. It's just so many people that want knowledge of self. Is so hard to really keep up with every person. Like we be having a lot of people that want to know why and what the devil is trying to do and how can they get it past them. How can they navigate through this? And so that's why we do what we do to help our people navigate through this. And we doing what we can. It's overwhelming, but we do it anyway. We love to do it. I mean, what else would I do if I wasn't doing this? I mean, I would be doing regular stuff like living, but I'm just doing that regular stuff so that I can do this. So that's how I'm keeping it real. But the real science behind it is I get the next level of satisfaction is the one-on-one. Like you see how I try to. I want you to see the correlation of the Jedi master and the student of the Jedi art. You see how they walk and talk together. That's what I be showing you. The significance of the Father teaching Messiah. You see how it, right? The Jedi Master Yoda teaching Luke Skywalker, and you see Luke Skywalker is really the savior of the Jedi Knights, right? And so you seen the father get taught by Elijah, and then boom, he saved the babies. You see how it's correlating. That's what I'm showing you. But anyway, we're gonna go back to the foundation of what we was talking about because that was another subject matter that went like, who's the original man? Like, the original man is not just the original man, but he's also the Asiatic black man. And he was like, well, Asiatic. I'm like, yes, we built on Asiatic. We took Asiatic to the level where it was in ancient languages, ancient tongues, older than ancient Hebrew, old ancient language talking about the cosmos and the equilibrium and how it unified itself from knowledge to born and then knowledge added onto a cipher. It was like it went from knowledge to born through millennia, maybe 9 millennia. And that would have been knowledge born dimensional manifestations in the dimension state, in the universe state, from triple darkness into suns, right? All right. Remember we was building on the triple darkness, the black suns, and the suns that emit light, and the suns that absorb light. All of that is real, right? We were building on from knowledge to born, and from born back to knowledge. That's where we went. And then you hit knowledge added onto a cipher. That's what happens. When you hit knowledge added onto a cipher, that's when you hit Asiatic. That's deep, right? Because it went from knowledge to born, and from born back to knowledge, and kept going from knowledge to born, and from born back to knowledge. Then it would go from knowledge to born, and from born back to knowledge. But as it was doing that, it was stabilizing. So it might do like this: knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and then go from knowledge to born, and born back to knowledge. But it stabilized that knowledge, wisdom, understanding. And the next hit would be, for stabilization, would be culture, power, equality. So then it is stabilizing those manifestations. Then it will go God, build, born, and then it try to stabilize that. But in the meantime, it's still going from knowledge to born, and from born back to what? Knowledge. And then finally, it hit knowledge added on to a what? Cipher. Once it added knowledge added on to a cipher, that's when that particular universe stabilized. And once the stabilization takes place, you have what is called matter and motion and time, and there's Asiatic. That's how deep Asiatic is. The Asiatic is not just Earth, but it's matter in itself. The manifestation of the electron, the proton, and neutron, that's Asiatic. You feel me? That's also on the Earth, on the planets, they are planets. The sun, moon, and stars, they are planets. See, even the sun, it's a sun planet. Moon planets, Earth planet. They're all planets. They're spheres. They're planets. They're sun, moon, and stars. They are what? Planets. They are manifestations of motion, time being made. All right, we can go right back to theology of time, whether it's the book or the audio from Elijah, and make it born, or go into a Law 360. All right, now once you hit a Law 360, why, when you go to a Law 360, why does it bring you into, in your memory, the problem book? The reason it does that is because I'm gonna tell you right. Okay, look. If we go into the problem book, right? In the problem book, the only problem that the original man has, is his adherence to the European colonizers' teachings. For some reason, he's still locked into the European teachings, right? So that makes him think. Without thinking, he attaches himself to the Europeans' different religious practices, and he don't know he's doing it. So, you have what you got, a group of black Asiatic men that attach themselves to evolution. And by attaching themselves to evolution, they believe these scientists when they teach paleontology. And they believe the other scientists when they teach anthropology. Well, that right there puts them in a confused state. And then you have to point out to them that those same people that's dealing with anthropology and paleontology, their brothers are Egyptology. And the foundation to Egyptology is colonialism. And foundation to colonialism is European supremacy. And then you go into Negroid, Caucasoid, Mongoloid. And now you have the Darwin, they're one of their prophets. And then you go into another one of their prophets is well, they love Eisenhower, but he wasn't one of their prophets. What is his name? I can't think of his name, but I think of E equals MC squared, right? So, They have a lesson where WD and Einstein, they're debating. It's a lesson on it. But that's not the point I was making. It just came up because that's what happened, you know. But anyway, what I'm saying is, the correlation is when you look at the foundation of 120, it's in its literal sense. It's in its literal sense. It's in its literal sense. But it is also metaphysical, theological, mathematical, scientific. It has its ologies in it too. It has it. It's there because you have to answer these questions that are being made manifest. Everything that the devil is bombarding you with, the 120 answers back to those. Is an answer back. That's what it is. They're not just born in you, but they're answering the devil in his devilishment and in how he sees things as a devil is an answer for him because the people need. It shouldn't be any questions that you ask that can't be answered by 120. Now you might say, "Oh, I don't see the answer." Now that could be true. You might not see the answer, but the answer is there. So anyway, like I was saying, we went into a Law 360, and eventually we go into a Law 360. Once you hit a Law 360, it opens up other things. So if you're in a Law 360, your brain is gonna open up to what you already did the knowledge to in the problem book, because you should have got the problem book before you see the Law 360. All right. So you looked in the problem book, and you seen how to make mathematical. See, that was the first lesson you learned out of the problem book, was how to turn mathematical equations into word problems. So you make mathematics into a word problem. That's the first lesson you learn, how to turn that mathematical 1 plus 2 equals 3. And you can turn that into a word problem, right? So anyway, long story short, we looked at the Law 360 and made us go look into the problem book. And when we was looking into the problem book, we noticed that the problem book kept talking about blood pressure. And we looked at blood pressure, and we noticed that blood pressure, according to the anatomy and physiology, is connected to your circulatory system. Now, your circulatory system is connected to every portion of your body because that's how your body feeds your body. And then you understand that if the devil can devise a way for you to eat something that has something in it that is detrimental to your circulatory system, he has to get you to volunteer to eat it. Once he's able to have you volunteer, you'll kill yourself. We're good. You feel me? And that's how it made itself manifest. Now, once he had 1492 to 1555, the indoctrination period. Make a long story short, it's the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding. And in the indoctrination period, the knowledge and the wisdom make manifest the understanding. And within the equality culture years of the indoctrination period, they subtract the understanding from the knowledge and the wisdom first. And then within the equality culture years, they subtract the wisdom from the knowledge. And then the knowledge, they find out in the knowledge the alpha or the A people in the 26. Get the A's and the B's. You need their lieutenants. You need their second in command. You gotta have them because there's the Yoda, Luke Skywalker, Jedi Master, Jedi, Allah, Messiah. That's what you see. You see that? Not Law and Justice. Law and Justice would have been more like Yoda and Windu. You feel me? Now you see the correlation. All right, when we get back to 360, we don't want to lose you. We want to keep you in a law 360, and we want to go into the problem book. Then once we get into the problem book, we're going to go right into blood pressure. And then once we get into blood pressure, we're going to see the correlation between beef, chicken, fish, pets, people, and Monsanto, and then grain. And once we see the correlation, we look at the grain as the culprit, but it's not the culprit. Monsanto is the culprit, not the grain. All right. And then once we figure out that what Monsanto is doing and what they did, then we say, okay, we got to go for a remedy. That's the only other. I mean, what is the reason doing all that if we're not going for remedy? And you know, the nation is into having a remedy because 120 is into a remedy. So the remedy to things is any live grafted germ from original is devil. We kept saying that at the rally. Any live grafted germ from original is devil. Yeah. What did he promise his nation he would do? You see what I'm saying? That's how. What was Yaku's first rules and regulations, including all laws of manufacturing, while manufacturing the devil? What was Yaku's first rules and regulations enforced while manufacturing the devil? Whichever way you got it, you know what I'm talking about. So that's why we ended up with, who is the original man? I bet you everybody says it just like that. Who is the original man? All right, so eventually you get to who is the original man, and you're gonna go into food. Like, how do you work out to build muscle mass or density or burn body fat or lungs are an organ and you're increasing its capacity. Circulatory system, you want to change the circulatory system. So, if you exert your physical composition, resistance, any kind of resistance or expenditure of energy, you can increase the breath, and because the oxygen needs to go into the muscles for them to react to certain things. And so when you do these things, you start to realize you're right back into a Law 360. How could you get out of it? You didn't get out of it. I mean, when you hit Law 360, you hit the problem book. And with the problem book, you hit the words. If you hit the words, you're going to go right into the alphabet and then into your mathematics. So you end up at the mathematics, right? And your mathematics say ancient original man, which we go back to Al, Asiatic takes us into Malkuth, goes into knowledge, added on to a cipher. When everything stabilized, when the equilibrium manifested itself equally within each cipher from knowledge to born, and it stabilized, now it could go into knowledge added on to a what? Cipher. And once it hit knowledge added on to a cipher, knowledge, wisdom, knowledge, understanding, carried on to wisdom, equality. And now you had your wisdom equality, you went right into your lessons. However you got 120, it went that way. Right? And so, after you manifested that, then you said to yourself, all right, just not eating swine is not enough. Not if I'm going to reverse the process of the 360. If you're going to reverse the process of the 360, this is what I suggest. I mean, yes, you can have all your other good books, the mucus-free diet, this, that, and the third, Ketosis, Dr. Axe, all those good books, all those different good doctors that tell you about getting into a ketonic and a ketosis, burning ketoids, and you burning body fat and all that. But All of those are just fancy ways of saying how to eat to live, book 1 and book 2. Go right back to your lesson. See what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. And then when you do that, when you hit how to eat to live, book 1 and book 2, you're going to have to see the correlation between the Law 360 and the problem book that correlate with and connect itself to how to eat to live, which is in your 12th Jew food. In your 12 Jews food. Food is 7, but I'm saying, and look at the whole package. Once you look at food, you're going to go into your lessons and it's going to go food, clothing, and shelter. It's going to make you think about a civilized person eventually. Who's a civilized person? And then you're going to see that as knowledge in God. That's going to be queen if you go into your alphabets. That's going to make you look at MGT and GCC. Right? And so you're going to eventually get to the point where you're going to say that the devil has been working overtime controlling commodities, such as, and not limited to, food. And he controls the food. He really controls everybody. He doesn't have to have control of the gold and all that. Even if he had control, didn't have control of the mines, the people who mine gold and have gold, what do you think? They don't buy food? Everybody buys food. Everybody buys food, grows food, eats food, tries to get some food at the end of the day. So if you control the food, you got a good role. That's why people who are cooks, they really don't never run out of work. If they really wanted to work and they were a real good cook and they were always getting better at cooking, trust me, they always got a job because somebody always wants a sandwich. Trust and believe me. But anyway, the point I'm making when we get to food is, it makes me say to myself, food. The devil makes everybody believe that grain is the foundation to your diet. But in reality, vegetables are the foundation to your reality as a physical composition. And so, because they are, and I'm going to keep it real, I favor a plant-based diet. And it's not just based on because we need to eat plants. It's based on a lot of things like, that's the best way to smash the devil. Definitely. You can smash him up by being a plant-based diet. So it's more on that level of where I'm going with it. But in and all of that, I go to say that there is another thing that I've noticed is that it's a very good way to counteract the damage that the 1555 to 1492, and then from 1555 to 1865, and from 1865 to 1965, and from 1965 to 1969, and then from 1969 to 1975, and then from 1975 to the 9/11, and then that's everything before the 9/11, and then everything after the 9/11 is when they start doing the Trayvon Martins on us. All right, so all that trying to traumatize and shit, things like knowledge itself is geared to fight all of that, but everybody doesn't have it. So then we always have to have a remedy that takes care of this particular time and era. That's why the Father gave us remedies. Get a trade, get a profession, become a productive member of society. Right? And once you do that, you're able to invoke change. You couldn't invoke change if you could get your people to connect. Now, I'm not saying that the devil ain't going to try to stop you from making your people connect. Of course he is. That's how he rolls. You knew that going in the game. It wasn't going to be easy. You didn't think it was going to be easy, did you? So for people who want it easy, you're only really obligated to the knowledge, wisdom, and the understanding. That's really what you're obligated to. It's knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You, your woman, and your baby. That's your only obligation. You're supposed to make sure your universe is right and exact. You don't got to be out here telling people and teaching people what's going down. You don't got to tell them jack. Listen to me. You do not have to. You're not obligated to tell them. That's not what the manifestation said. There's people doing that. That's what they do. You supposed to be working on you. And if you just, each individual works on you, we can mash this devil. And we can come up out of this. But anyway, they're not going to do it tomorrow. They're not going to all do it tomorrow. We know they're not. So what's the plan for tomorrow in case they don't do it? If they do it, love. But I don't think they're going to do it tomorrow. They're going to eventually do it, but it won't be tomorrow. But anyway, we're going to get to the remedy. The remedy is right now you're supposed to be thinking that the father already had the remedies set up. Trade and profession. Those are like two key remedies that'll fix a whole lot of things. And then the next remedy would be, well, you should have really been dealing with that remedy prior to trade and profession, which would have been your dietary law. But the way I'm formulating it, we're talking about dietary laws now because there's things that have happened that weren't going on at the level that they're going on now in the time of the creation of 120. And in the time of the development of agriculture. So, if you don't adapt to what's going on now, you'll die. And so we don't believe in dying. We believe in not dealing with belief. So if you're not going to deal with a belief system, then you have to transfer that into knowledge so that you can bring about that wisdom and go right into the understanding. Then you see the culture being God. And you born yourself into some power, but that really went from culture to the power to the equality then God. Then you hit build, born. You feel me? Okay, so you move back from knowledge to born, from born back to knowledge, which took you into the knowledge added onto a cipher, which was Asiatic. Boom. Once you knew Asiatic was right and exact, and you said, all right, that's deep that Asiatic is really right and exact and that it's an ancient word in and of it. What? Self. It just goes back to Malkuth. Let me hear my quadrilateral people. Y'all know about Malkuth? Right? And all you Masonic brothers who thought y'all knew Masonry, but you was missing the Malkuth. Because you seen 357, but you didn't know it was a quadrilateral tree of life. Okay, but now we know. All right. Anyway, we're going to go back to the root and say, Monsanto, any live grafted germ from originalist devil that connects us to Alec, then it immediately ties you right into 1776. It also ties you into 1865. It's gonna leap into the War Powers Act, FDR, and then you're gonna see the red line, and from the red line you're gonna see Alec again gonna pop up in your face, but this time the Alec that you're gonna be looking at is the Alec of today, which is just the corporations coming together and using Alec as their umbrella. That's really what's happening, right? And then once you see that, you're gonna say, oh, now I see what J. Edgar Hoover was doing. See, now once you see J. Edgar Hoover, you're gonna see the big numbers, like big numbers you're gonna see are gonna be Martin Luther, right? You're going to see Martin Luther because the father saw Martin Luther. That's why he didn't let them riot. And then you're going to see Malcolm. And then you're going to go further back and you're going to see the Kennedy brothers. And then you could take a leap and go jump back, even if you look at Medgar and all that. But you're going to leap back to Lincoln. And then once you hit Lincoln, you're going to leap all the way back to the indoctrination period. And once you hit the indoctrination period, you're going to understand why the Law 360 was made manifest. And then you're going to see why you need the remedy. So now we're going to go and we're going to buy some kind of slight touch. It's called slight touch. Look up slight touch and try to get those nice little cheap, don't cost a lot, blood pressure monitor. Right? You can get the kind for your wrist or you can get the kind for your bicep. And then you're going to go and you're going to go get a nice digital weigher to weigh the physical composition, and also going to check your bone density. And if I'm not mistaken, it checks the density to your muscle versus body fat. It's going to cross-reference that. And I'm not saying it's absolute, but it gives you a point of reference. Right. Now, once you have those equipment, that I want you to check your ratings, check your numbers with those two instruments. You're going to check them in the morning and you're going to check them at night. And you're going to watch the numbers drop until your body regulates. It's going to regulate on its own, but you're going to drop all the body fat. Pretty much you should go down to a 2 to 5 to 9% body fat. You want it to go down to that. You do want it. You're going to at first trip out with the black culture in the hood because they think losing weight, oh man, that ain't good, I'm losing weight. Don't listen to those Negroes. They have no idea that they've been programmed to think that way. Lose that body fat. You can always build muscle mass and increase your density and not even increase the size of your woman or increase the size. You can increase density and size if you're a dude, and it's easy for a girl to not increase in size but increase in density. You'll be good. Alright, so don't get tripped out on the ghetto shit. Let that body fat go. That's where the sickness is at. It's hiding inside of the body fat, right? So you're going to drop all of that. And you can go down to pretty much a good 7% if you eat right and exact. All right, so now we're going to get right to the nitty-gritty. Because the most thing that we need to fix with the original people are the diet, whether it's mental or physical. So if you're at this level, if you're an advanced student and you're getting ready to teach your students, you want this information because this is the information that you're going to use that your students are never going to leave your camp, because you're going to have high science that constantly grows. It never ceases growth. It doesn't metastasize. It doesn't stagnate. It doesn't become stagnant. It's constantly growth and elevation, growth and development. He was talking about that in the show move too. Right? So everything I'm talking about today, this is what was going on in the show. That's why I be telling y'all, come. I mean, I know you be wanting to hear me tell you what went down and how but man, it's not the same as if you would have been there. So make sure you get to it next time you get to the show and prove, get to the Philly Day, go to the law school in your respective areas, get with the elders. I mean, it is what it is. That's how you really get it, and you get to manifest it like this. All right. So now the conclusion. Now you don't have to stick with. Well, you do need to stick with these 5 principles, but the rest of it you can fluctuate as time lets you fluctuate when you heal the physical composition. But the first initial hit, this is what you want to do. This is the remedy. And you need to do this anywhere from 120 to 180 days. And then you can start tapering off if you have totally healed. If you haven't healed yet, you need to keep going. You may have to go up to a year. It might take you 120 days for your cells to restructure their working mechanisms. But others might move faster because they already did other things in advance. But all right, this works no matter if you're omnivorous, if you are a carnivore, but you won't be a carnivore. Because if you was a carnivore, but it would help if you was a carnivore too, because you might have a pet that's a carnivore. I don't know. People have tigers for pets. And if you're a herbivore, it'll help you too if you do cooked food. If you're a vegetarian that doesn't eat any cooked food, then you're already there. And if you're a fruitarian and you don't use cooked food, you're there. And if you are a vegan and you're not dealing with cooked food, then you're there. Now, you could be dealing with cooked food, but you're not dealing with any grain, so then you might be close there, too. But if you're dealing with underground vegetables, you may not be there. Like I said, there's an exception to the rule. The underground vegetables exception to the rule would be those red potatoes. Some people say carrots, and CB said that carrots were grafted, or yeah, he pretty much said it was grafted. Whatever terminology he used, it is what it is. Based on what he said, yeah, I grafted germ from original devil. So they grafted is what, I don't know if it's absolute or it's not absolute. I would need to know who grafted it when it went down. That's how you would research that. And you would see, was it Asiatics doing it, making it, or was it the devil doing it? Because if it was the Asiatics making it, they probably made it safe for you to feed it to your animals. That's probably what they were doing. Making it for horses, hoofed herbivores may have been for them. You know, because a lot of food that was connected to agriculture through the original people was made for animal, like mustard greens, collard greens, what do they call them? There's mustard green, collard green, kale. That's food for hoofed and split hoof animals. Because you could have a farm and have some hoofed animals that you don't eat, but they're workers. And you could have some split hoof animals that workers, and you could have some split hoof animals that you use for slaughter. So, but all of them can eat kale, mustard greens, and collard greens, and those particular greens are very good for you as a farmer growing because they help the soil. All right? That's agriculture. Because remember I told you in that lesson, when we looked into agriculture, all right, and you look at Elijah, go back to the problem book and then go right into the message of the black man and you automatically see agriculture. All right. So we showed improved agriculture. But we're going to go back to the root and we're going to say the remedy. Right? Because we had several remedies, but one good remedy for food was the 5. Look at your hand and go. The thumb is wheat. Wheat, or if you know how to consolidate, you say grain. So we're not going to bother with grain at all until we heal the body. Once we heal the body, then you could go to the exception to the rule and use black rice or wild rice. That's the only grain you're going to really deal with. If you work out with heavy metal and you are a bodybuilding type person, you deal with strenuous resistance to muscle. The grain that you will eat will be ancient grain, like quinoa, ancient wheat. That's not even, they don't even call it wheat. It has like 14 chromosomes in it. You're going to go there. You're not even going to go with spelt, because even spelt has a tendency to cause inflammation, because the new spelt is still fucking, Monsanto still got his little dirty hands in there. You just don't see them. Right? We tested it already and we seen the inflammation in it. So if it has an ancient grain, didn't have any inflammation. Maize and the ancient Egyptian grain didn't give your body inflammation at all. And even that, you only ate that sparingly. For your bread and all that kind of stuff. There's other flour. You don't have to use European ideology of colonizing the plants in the form of wheat. You don't have to use that. You can use almonds, cashews, hazelnut, hemp, spinach. Man. Now while the animals might need mustard green, collard green, kale, you only need spinach to match that. That's your superfood for green, is spinach. Baby and adult. And then you can add in some romaine or that spring mix and things like that. Those are nice on your digestion, right? Add a little apple cider vinegar, you're in good shape. All right, make sure that you blend it through a blender and not juice it, and you're even better shape. All right, these are remedies. Remedies to healing the physical composition, then you can fluctuate as you travel. If you're going to go into a little bit of eggs, try not to eat the eggs from Monsanto, the white ones. Try to go to the free-range chickens or the brown eggs. And try to your best to eat them sparingly. Alright? And then the next one you're going to hit is no starch. Like I said, no underground vegetables. If the vegetable grows underground, it's really for a rodent type animal like rabbits and all that. It's not really for human consumption. Like I said, the exception after you heal yourself, because you're not European and haven't been traumatized the way you have. You need to heal yourself first. Then if you want to sparingly use red potatoes, you can. Those are the only underground vegetables. Blue or purple onions. Pretty much that's it in that category. I'm sure somebody can do some other research and find whatever else they need or don't need. But those are the two. You really don't need a big variety of food. You only need a certain amount of things, and they cover everything. All right. You want to eat the healthy fats like avocado, macadamia, cashew, walnut. Matter of fact, CB only speaks on walnut. He doesn't like the other three. Raw nuts aren't bad as far as we're concerned in looking at lessons. Berries are like top of the line for you, right? Because we're talking about healing the body, and we want you to stay in ketosis, and we want you to be in burning fat rather than burning glucose. So that's why this diet is designed to heal the physical composition. Then you can fluctuate as you see fit. What fits you after you've healed yourself, but you need to heal that circulatory system first. And so to heal your circulatory system, you need to stay in the growth hormone for a long time. And to stay in the growth hormone, you need to keep your insulin down. And to heal insulin resistance, you need to keep your insulin down. And to heal the hypertension, you need to keep your insulin down. And to heal diabetics, you need to keep your insulin way down to normal zero. And to do that, that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. It's for healing factor, problem book, Law 360, spinal fluid. Now, it works for us also who want to increase muscle mass. Because you're a dude and you're increasing muscle mass. There's nothing wrong with you. You good and you're into working out. Okay. You into working out, I don't want to see no grain on your table. I don't want to see any starch on your table. And I don't want to see any refined sugar. Nor do I want to see any soy on your table. All right? And no dairy. If you want probiotics, you can get probiotics in the greens. All you have to do is eat green, raw, leafy vegetables. Add some of that wheatgrass juice powder to it. Wheatgrass juice powder, not just wheatgrass. You could add wheatgrass with the wheatgrass juice, but that's going to be mostly for the floral in your intestines more so than for you. So if you're doing wheatgrass powder, that's for the floral mostly. And if you're doing wheatgrass juice powder, that's for your physical composition to absorb those nutrients, all right? What's the next remedy we're hitting? All right, we hit start. Refined sugar. No refined sugar whatsoever in your life, all right? If you need sweet things, you get maple, molasses, or honey. And it needs to be raw. Don't that cook shit. All right. That should pretty much heal you. Now I want you to do intermittent fasting is what they call How to Eat to Live in the one in book 2 and one in part 2 of A Law of Speech. All right. So what we'll be doing is 4 hours before bed and 4 hours after we wake up, and the 8 hours of rest or however long you rested. We're going to try to get at least 16 to 12 to 16 or 16 to 12 hours of your physical composition's digestive system resting in the form of non-insulin being produced by the pancreas. And so when there's no insulin being produced by the pancreas and all the glucose or sugar has been burnt up by the physical composition, your growth hormone is going to kick in. And that's when the healing process takes place. So you want your growth hormone to stay on as long as possible, so eventually you'll get good at it and you'll be able to cut your growth hormone in on the beginning of the 4 hours going into the 8, and then the whole 8 while you resting, the growth hormone is activated, and then 4 hours after you wake up, the growth hormone is still on. Man, your body will love you. And then you eat. And then you only eating raw. And so you eat only raw and more vegetables than anything, and you need your amino acids. You only need a little bit of that, and that's going to be like macadamia, cashew, those kind of things are going to give you amino acids, the nuts. Not ligaments. The only ligaments you're going to ever eat in your life should be navy or black bean. It better not be in a can. You should get it in the bag, and you should put the water that you want it to absorb for 24 hours with the seasonings that you want. And then you boil it. Slow, like a crock pot type boil. You don't want to kill the bean. Right, that's remedy. You feel me? You feel the remedies now, right? All right. Now, you're going to move on to increased density, increased muscle mass, healed tendons. To do that, okay, let's go back to professionally taught self-defense type exercise. So we want that, but it's not necessary, but we would love you to do that because that's what 120 likes you to do. But if you're not going to be able to do that, then you need to do professionally taught sports so that you can get to that level where you can do it on your own, or you're just going to be a civilian, then you need to be able to run 10 flights of stairs 10 times and not be damaged. Not have to stop, but be able to walk a mile. That's what you're going to work to do. You'll be a great civilian, all right? Now, let's go to the next level. We're going to be dudes that like to do martial arts and work out and increase density and increase muscle mass and increase the dexterity and the tendons. They want their tendons to be powerful. You guys are going to not only take some type of professional fighting art that deals with the gait and the center of gravity and body mechanics. You're not only going to deal with that, but you're also going to have what is called, you guys that work out, you know what I mean, tension. You want to have some kind of tension against the physical composition. Weight or pulleys, body weight, or steel weight. You're going to do that, but the reason why I want you to connect that with some type of gymnastic abilities is because it keeps your muscles being able to work together as a unit. Alright, you're going to do that. And then what you're going to do for, say you're at home and you don't have the money to get professional training, but you still want to do the professional training. Okay, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a book called Combat Conditioning. Then you're going to get a book called convict conditioning, and you're going to get some form of P90X from that guy who's that's what we were using. And then you're going to use those three things to increase your muscle density. And then if you want to add weightlifting and all that, that's an option. Right? You can add weights too. But those are the basic structures that you need to learn so that you can train your students on increasing their muscle mass. If you know those three things, you'll be right and exact. Now, wisdom and understanding. All right? That's going to take that to that level. And then you're going to master the ketosis way. In other words, you're going to master how to eat to live. You're going to master how to eat one meal a day. And then you're going to be a law 360 because you'll be complete. That's how you heal it. Because that, if you stick with that dietary law, your sperm and your egg, woman, egg, man, sperm, spinal fluid, you're going to change your spinal fluid. She's going to change hers and he's going to change his. And see, in a Law 360, what we try to do is get a whole community of us doing that together, and then we let our children intermingle with each other. So the seed is even stronger, and we let those next seeds and those next seeds and the next seed. And at the same time, while we're doing that, we're fixing the 1555, but we're also separating ourselves from the devil. You don't have to physically move away from the devil. You just have to separate yourself from his ideology. And that's why I was saying to the God that he was saying to the brother he was working with at Justice Cipher Born, who was caught up into Darwin. Listen to me, Lord. Queen, sister, listen to me. The devil, the European colonizer who colonized us, and the devil who uses devilishment, and the other Europeans, whichever kind of Europeans it was, that did whatever they did. At the end of the day, their ideology always was to our detriment. So, if these same people that Dr. Ben, Dr. Jeffries, Henry Clark, Africa, CB, those different kind of scholars, J.A. Rogers, George G.M. Jackson, these kind of people say they're liars, and there's nothing they said was the truth in their historical events. Their Egyptology is a lie. We had to send in Ben and them to fix their shit. Well, so you think that they lied about all that? Dr. Seuss and all those motherfuckers, right? They lied about all that, but you think they told the truth about paleontology and anthropology and sociology and Egyptology? You think they told the truth about that? No. All of that is part of European supremacy, and they want to rule the planet Earth, and they want to rule you, and they're not going to rule you by telling you the what? Truth? Everything they tell you is to empower their manifestation. And that's how it goes. So, now we know. And so we're going to end it. Peace.